Welcome to Between Sundays. I'm Tyler, and there's absolutely nothing worse than the stench of an assembly. Today, we're bringing our burnt offerings to week 2 of Hope Month and focusing on injustice. But before we let justice roll on like a river, now that she will not listen to the music of our harps, let's welcome in our favorite co-hosts, Maron, and Dave's here too. Yay!
Nor will I dance, nor will I mourn.
No, Dave, welcome back.
Hey, thank you. Good to be here.
Like I said, off mic, back in the saddle. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm. Mostly I'm falling out of the saddle these days.
Yeah. When we started this podcast in 2017, you were still kind of the week, like every week you were on the show and talking about sermons and stuff, and it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I show up every now and then.
Every now and then, yeah.
Like a bad dream.
You do. Every now and then, and not like a bad dream, but every now and then we'll be in a lead team.
You do show up like a bad dream.
Lead team meeting on a Tuesday,
oh,
and
yeah.
you'll just pop in.
Yeah.
It just pops
It's
around
great.
the corner.
I love
it too.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
Hey.
Yeah, hey. Family business. Barry's not here. He's in Turkey, right?
Yep, just got a picture of them.
That's where he is.
from an hour ago.
Jaden, Maron's son,
Yes.
firstborn and only son,
Can you stop?
is also in Turkey.
It's so mean.
Is also in Turkey with Barry. So that's why Barry's not here today.
Having a blast.
Yeah, great time. Looks like the food is incredible. They're learning a ton. You guys probably have more info on what they've actually experienced this far. But yeah, that's why Barry's not here. And so we're bringing in the big guns, and Dave's here to talk about a sermon.
Big guns.
So
like those ancient cannons from the Civil War.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Dave and his sermon on injustice in just a bit. But first, we've got a little family business. There, you mentioned this in your sermon. We've got a Destinyworks Calling Quilt workshop on October 4th at Grace Church. Dave talked about it, but registration is open for you to learn more about what you were made for, especially in light of Hope Month and the broken places. So you can go to gracechurch.us/hope to sign up there for the workshop. A lot of people signed up. I heard. Yeah, already.
They're rolling in.
Yeah.
Is there a limit?
Nope.
Okay. Because I actually put it on my calendar. I want to go.
Yeah.
But I didn't officially
Is that how you
register.
put it on your calendar?
No,
Like
there's no limit.
Put it on my calendar.
I don't know why.
Gotta go.
I don't know why I came in today. I don't know why. Barry's gone and you are out of control.
Oh man! All right, what's new? What's going on with you guys?
Well, my son is in Turkey.
You're a grown-up boy.
He is. He's a grown-up boy. I'm so excited for him.
Has he called you or texted you or FaceTimed
No.
or anything?
There's been lots of picture texts here and there, but I'm not expecting him to call. And really, I told him I want him to be present. I want him to be present as much as I want pictures of food.
So
I also just want him to be in the moment.
What if you found out that he was giving a bunch of updates to Desi?
Is he?
There's your answer.
Is he giving a bunch of updates to you?
No. I was just wondering. You're I don't expect a lot of updates. It's fine. He's a grown up. Do whatever. But if you found out that he was giving
Well,
updates,
that would be
just
very
not to
inappropriate
you,
because that is the whole purpose of the family chat. We have a family chat.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact, when he was first kind of traveling and when he first arrived, he was texting me just kind of directly.
Good.
But then it shifted appropriately
Family chat.
to the family chat.
All right.
Where those things belong.
Yeah.
But it's good. I've been getting lots of pictures of iconography over there in the different temples. What do you call them? Churches that they've visited. And they were at the Hagia Sophia today.
Yep.
Was it today?
A little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
Did he tell you about that?
Well, you just mentioned.
Oh yeah, I did.
Jaden has no point of reference.
Yeah.
So he's just in awe.
Yeah.
But Barry's been there before.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's they weren't able to get the access to the inside the Barry Hope, but it was still
because
still
now
amazing
it's a
thing.
fully functioning mosque.
Fully functioning mosque, and so they're not able to go into the deep part of it.
But still, just the ancientness of it all,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
beauty and the iconography and all that stuff. I can't wait. So the young adults group that meets here on Thursday nights has already set aside time for Jaden to basically come and kind of give an old school presentation of, and here's my slides from my vacation.
Oh, yeah.
They want to hear all the stories, and I want to hear all the stories.
Well, that's good.
So I'm excited.
They're interested.
He said typically, he's wherever he's traveled, he's historically pretty bad at taking pictures.
Jaden is.
So he's really trying this time to capture these things so that he can come home and tell us.
They
all
needed
about
to
it.
like designate a team photographer.
Oh yeah,
They needed to do that.
they
we
probably
probably
could.
should have told them that.
I mean, it's not too late. They're there.
I mean, nobody's
until,
talking to me.
They
Nobody's
don't
giving
come
me
home
updates.
until Sunday.
Yeah.
So with Jaden being gone, that's been it's been good, but the updates come at like 2:30 in the morning
Yeah,
because they're
time difference.
opposite times.
Well, you're awake because you just finished your final paper.
I was definitely awake
And
all,
so
all weekend long.
You're wrapped up another, what do they call it? Session?
Quarter.
Semester?
Quarter.
Quarter?
Well, the paper is due on Friday. I finished my first draft yesterday, but it meant I just kind of shut myself away on Friday and didn't surface again until around 11 o'clock last night.
So how's that been going?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But you feel good about your paper.
I don't know yet.
What was this paper? What was it on?
So the way they do final research papers, at least so far in my experience, is they kind of let you just pick whatever topic you could dream of that is in some way associated with the class that you were taking.
I was going to.
It has to in some way.
Banana bread. I'm going to do a paper on banana
But
bread.
if I could do like banana bread's significance to like global, anyone's global Christian history, I could
like it.
probably make it work.
That'd
So
be cool.
anyway, I decided to compare and contrast. It's a comparative analysis of the soteriology now of Martin Luther and James Cone.
Like it. And who?
Yeah, James Cone, the father of Black liberation
Oh,
theology.
it'd be wonderful. I'd love to hear that.
It's interesting.
Wow.
It is. I mean, yeah. So it's my brain. I can't even describe like what shape it's in right now.
Yeah.
Is it a pretzel? Are we like a twisted up Rubik's Cube and we just can't make sense of anything? Like I'm just kind of coming to right now. This is literally the first like public thing I've done all week.
So do you feel like relieved or tired or like what angry? Like what are you feeling?
I feel like right now I just need to let it rest.
Okay.
I need to let it rest because it's not due till Friday.
Yeah.
I thankfully have access to. We have a writing center at the school that I'm in, and so
you've picked fights with them though before.
Yes, but
you turn in a paper, you're like, they're wrong. They give you feedback, and you're like, I don't agree.
Some of these things are very subjective. I actually talked with somebody a couple weeks ago who said they sent in a paper when they were in seminary.
Yeah.
Long story short, it kind of got lost in the shuffle and needed to be resubmitted. But one professor gave them a 0 and one professor gave them 100. It's just
come on now.
So subjective. So that's kind of where there's a lot of uncertainty. I might feel great about the paper and where I've arrived. I do feel great, if nothing else, grades aside, I feel great exploring what I'm exploring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
Yes.
My uncle is one of the only African-American Lutherans I personally know. In fact, he might be the only Black Lutheran I know. And I was asking him about it. Like, how do you,
how does that work?
And why, so I got a book. I got a book called it's called I Heard a Rumor of Black Lutherans. That's the title.
What?
That's a great title.
The book.
That's a great title.
Yeah. I love what I'm learning.
Good.
Yeah. And that you're learning.
Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah. Again, grades aside.
Yeah.
This is incredible. The opportunity to dive so deeply into the father of the Reformation, Martin Luther, and the father of the essentially Black theological Reformation. I will call it a Reformation.
Will you have to do a project at the end, thesis, a general thesis?
I don't
for the
know.
whole.
I don't know, because it's not like a. You mean like a dissertation? Like,
yeah, dissertation. I'm not sure if that's
like
required.
to graduate or whatever.
Yeah, well,
I'm not sure at this level.
Because what
I
you
don't know.
just said, that would be a very cool dissertation.
Oh yeah. So the difficulty was narrowing the scope. Like at first I wasn't sure. Cones
That's just like your general difficulty.
all the time.
Whether you're preaching or
Correct.
writing papers.
Wow, that is the first thing you've ever said about me that was actually accurate and true. Like
no.
That's
very
Yeah,
true.
come on.
That's a broad. That's
All
the
of the
first
time.
thing that you've ever said about
You
me that's
don't know
accurate
me.
and true.
Don't act like you know me. Okay, you don't know me. But in that case, yeah, you totally know me. It is the struggle of my life is narrowing things down. Because it could go in a lot of different directions, but I was trying to focus specifically on Luther's thoughts about salvation
Yep.
and Cone's thoughts about salvation.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what it was
Brilliant.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was a ton of reading. I wish I would have brought him up here. I have a stack of books all written by James Cone, and that's just the Black liberation theology component of the paper, and then the rest are all, of course, books on Luther. So I was in deep, guys. In deep.
Love it.
Welcome back. Dave, what's new with you? What have you been up to?
Hurting myself.
Hurting yourself. Yeah, you
Mostly.
were sharing a little bit about how you tweaked an ankle or something.
I did, but it was just because I don't know what it was. I don't
You
know
just
why.
woke up with a
I
hurt
went
ankle.
it was weird. I got scared because it was not acting like a normal ankle thing. So I went to one of those immediate care
Oh, yeah.
places. And the woman kept saying, "Well, what did you do?" I don't know. I don't know what I did. It hurts.
Why does
Well,
that
did
matter?
you fall? No. Did you twist it? No.
Is it one of those things where you wake up and it's hurting?
I just all of a sudden I was walking and I went, that hurts. And
Well,
then
I don't know why it would matter what you did.
it doesn't matter. It kept hurting. And then I got, well, okay, you don't need to know this. But when you look at it and you go, do I have a blood clot?
Oh, yeah.
Was it swelling up?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Swelling up. And so then you do your own research.
Oh, that's always a good
course.
idea.
Yeah, you do that. And then you rush to the doctor going,
Yeah.
I'm dying. Any rate.
So it's all fine now?
No.
Oh, okay. It still hurts.
Hurts like heck. When I was preaching on Sunday, I was walking around hurting. Ouch. And the problem is, if I would have gotten hurt when I was 35, I would have said,
That's fine.
but when you're 70, now you're going, oh, here we go.
So you
It's the beginning of the end.
We're off and running,
you just touched on something that I've long been curious about.
which is,
I'm a worst case scenario thinker. That is another thing that is very true of me.
Yeah.
And I'm often
hypochondriac. Sorry.
I'm often concerned, not even that. It's worst case scenarios.
Oh.
So like when I'm speaking,
She has a hammer in her car, like in the thing, in case.
everyone should have a hammer in their car.
In case
and I
she
just
goes
bought
underwater.
another one. So
Why? Why do you need two?
Because one person in our family, I will not mention, did not have one in their glove box or on their visor. So anyway, everyone needs a hammer.
So
But the worst case scenario is public speaking, and suddenly, you have a asthma attack, or you got to go to the bathroom, or your ankle's hurting and you're hopping around.
Yeah.
Or in my case, you may have experienced your first hot flash in front of the entire congregation.
you don't want to call that out.
I just did.
I mean, when you're standing there.
No, of course.
Excuse me, all.
No.
Is that
But I'm like, can they tell?
Surprise!
Can they tell that I'm like struggling?
Yeah.
What do you do?
There was a Good Friday service back in the day here where I was so sick. I had some sort of sinus infection. I think it was Good Friday. Was it Good Friday or Easter? One of those two. At any rate, I'm preaching and a child started crying. And not just crying, wailing. But and I think it was being dismembered, but I'm not
I
positive.
think I was there for this.
It was awful, and I was sick. I felt horrible, and I finally stopped in the middle of the sermon. And I said, "I am so sorry. I'm not feeling well. I can't hear myself think. Could someone take that child out?"
Yeah, I think I was there for that.
Yeah, and they left the church.
Yep. That was in Central Auditorium.
It was in
When we were,
yes,
like,
it was
long-
in Central
that long
Auditorium.
ago.
I
Yeah.
felt horrible.
Oh, wow.
I felt sorta.
okay.
Get that
Sorta.
child out of here.
Yeah, come on. Can't you see I'm doing something? I got a thing going on here.
That's super impressive, though, you guys being able to speak, because I can't even write notes if I hear a child crying. I have to look and see what's going on and who's taking, is anybody with that crying child? Are they?
The cry, the outward stuff doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
like
it's
when
amazing.
you tipped over your water bottle and it rolled for a half hour, that did not bother me.
Maron's first sermon ever at Grace Church.
You
I was
knocked over-
hosting, and
Oh.
my water bottle.
Yeah.
This is what I had. And I was sitting in the front, and we have a concrete floor, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
kicked it over, and it was just like,
Yeah.
But it went on and on
And
and
did
on.
you call it out? You should have called him out.
No, because it was my first time preaching. I just couldn't. But I did call it out later because I captured that little
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
of video and put it on social
Yeah.
media so all
Yeah,
could
it's
see.
good.
Yeah.
But anyway, the outside stuff doesn't bother me. It's
Yeah.
the internal stuff of can they tell how nervous I am right now? Can they tell I'm sweating buckets?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Can they tell that this one piece of hair keeps going into my mouth and try that I might? I can't swipe it away.
Yeah.
I was once preaching and a phone went off, and it kept ringing.
So it's
ringing.
the outside stuff for you.
Well, it can be, and it kept ringing and ringing, and I finally said, "I hope somebody answers it," and it was my phone backstage. My own phone.
Classic.
Oh yeah. Actually, here's the thing. I don't know if you've experienced this. You've been on stage enough. You might experience this too. Somebody's not making a noise, but they're doing a thing. I don't know whether they're. I won't even mention some of the things that people do when they're
crazy.
sitting there.
We can see you, everybody.
Yeah,
like when we're on stage, we can see you.
And I have to go through this thing. I'm preaching. I'm also thinking, don't look at them again.
Yeah.
But then then I go over it.
Yeah, right.
Right over at them, and now I'm upset.
I tell the story of I was leading worship or singing worship or something, and there was a lady. There was no one in the front row, but there was a lady sitting in the second row right in front of me doing this, holding her ears closed and grimacing at me.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I can see you. I can see your face, and I have to continue singing.
When I was in college, I was in a traveling singing group, and we were singing in a church somewhere in the United States, and I'm on stage singing, and I look down, and there's a elderly woman in the front row, literally 15 feet from us, looking at us through a pair of Army field binoculars. 15 feet away with and I'm talking about not little opera glasses. I'm talking about those foot-long things you need a tripod to look through. She's staring, and
what in the world?
Well, she was hard. She couldn't see very well.
She couldn't see
She
you.
couldn't see very well, but and I thought, what are you looking at? I mean, it's
your
got
nose hair.
You're looking at my nose hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was very awkward. And then, of course, you can't help it. You can't sing over her.
Right.
She's right there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So you just sing to her.
You sing
Directly to her.
Man. I went camping this past weekend.
Yeah,
did
you
you
did.
guys have you guys were you a big camping family?
Nope.
Have you guys ever gone camping,
Unlike
Maron?
my son. Like, where did he come from? He loves to camp with nothing.
With nothing, yeah.
Look, I've got a toothpick and a piece of paper,
Yeah,
and that's all I'm
I
taking
brought some
with
mayonnaise and a toothpick.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it.
Jaden went to Turkey with a carry-on.
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
With
that's
nothing.
Any rate, the
Did you
answer
guys
is-
ever camp?
No time.
Have you ever, like, the Gaffrins ever, like, this might be fun one time? Like,
No, Tyler,
never.
no.
Okay.
Not
So
once.
we went camping. We do it maybe once a year. And it's always quite the experience. Like, it's good memories. You know, the kids are little.
Isn't this with her family, with Lauren's family?
No, this is with my sister. My sister has a camper.
Okay.
So she pulls it behind her car, and it can fit, it can fit two of our kids and her in the camper. It's not big enough for everybody. So we brought a tent. But this year, we didn't get to where we needed to go until like 8:30. We drove, I didn't know it was going to be like 2.5 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
So we drove, and so 8:30, it's dark.
Yeah.
So for a guy that camps once a year, like it is the most humbling thing in the world to show up to your campsite and be like, all right, now I got to set up the tent
Oh, no.
in the dark.
Can't you
and-
just sleep in the car at that point? Set it up
Yeah,
in
but
the
we have
morning?
kids. I got to like take care of them. So did that. And that, I mean, the camp experience was fun. It's always fun. And Lauren does a great job of like preparing everybody and making sure we all have our stuff. My insecurities come out like so hard while camping.
I can
it's like,
only imagine.
like a pitching tent in the dark. I don't like things like spiders.
Yeah, the outdoors.
I pitch the tent and immediately it's dark. I immediately walk into a spider web in my face, like just, and I backed up a little bit and I got my flashlight out and I turned it on. And the spider's bigger than I can make a circle with my finger.
Yeah.
Like the spider is like,
Mm-mm-mm.
like, I don't know, 2 inches around. It's huge.
Did someone force you to go camping?
I mean, no, nobody made
So
me do that.
it's a reasonable question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you go camping?
Because it's fun to like, I mean, the kids wake up and they're like, let's go on a bike ride and whatever. So like that stuff is fun, but like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And so setting up the tent in the dark wasn't great, but I kept it together. I kept my cool.
I'll ask Lauren about that.
I dare you. She will agree.
What?
But the thing that I question about camping while I was there is I don't know what makes camping, like someone who goes camping, impressive. Because like Barry, he shows up with like a knife, and it's like, oh, that's super impressive. He just created a house out of nothing. Or is it more impressive to show up with like a camper that can fit 20 people and like all this tech and everybody's riding around on like electric bikes? Because that's what it is.
Aren't we describing two different kinds of camping though? Like vastly
different?
Now
that's what I mean. Like when you go to a campground, it is like campers, like the motor campers, and then everybody's got like an electric scooter or a bike, an electric bike that they're just like cruising around. Like nobody's like
leisure.
Yeah, it's leisure.
Yeah.
So is that impressive, or is it impressive that like you're just super?
You're comparing apples to oranges. Barry is like wilderness survival guy.
I know, but when I was there, I was like,
kids wilderness survival camping.
I was like, what should I be more impressed by? I was like, should I be impressed at the guy who is like not wearing a shirt, but he's like doing his electric bike back and forth through the entire time of when I'm setting up a tent?
Throws in not wearing the shirt.
Yeah. Well, everybody's kind of the same when you go camping. It's like everybody looks, everybody dresses, everybody has an agreement.
What's your definition of the word impressive?
Yeah.
Well, like I walk by a camper and it's like they've got LED lights all around the campsite that are like that change different colors. They've got a backlit like American flag. Like you walk by and you're like, man, that's kind of impressive. And then you walk by, like, you know, when like Andy Griffith or something, you see a tent from that era, and it's like a triangle.
Yeah.
Like there was a guy there who just had a triangle tent. And I was like, oh, that's kind of impressive too. So I don't know.
Yeah, camping is in the eye of the beholder, I suppose.
But I kept it cool going.
Mm-hmm.
I lost all of it trying to come home, pack the car to come home. Because getting the tent out is one thing.
Yeah.
But getting the tent back in the thing, folding it up and like getting it back and then getting everything in the car.
Reason number one to never go camping.
I lost my cool. Lauren came up. She's like, why do you have such a bad attitude? I was like, we can't talk about this right now. And so when we got in the car, I was like, all right, now you can tell me how bad of an attitude. But yeah, it was.
I think when you get there and it's 8:00 and you've got to like set up a shelter for your family. Yeah. Like adrenaline's pumping. You're in survival mode. You just got to get her done. Yeah. But then like the tearing it down to go home and there's no adrenaline.
And you probably didn't sleep well.
No, you haven't slept well in 2 nights.
Yeah. We picked the most inclined campsite.
Oh.
So we were in a tent and you probably want a flat campsite. Mm-hmm. So your tent's flat. But we picked one that was not, and it was.
You wake up in the morning, you're half out of the tent.
Yeah, me and Lauren were just like.
How did that
happen? So it was good. I mean, it was a good experience. Actually, we're doing it again in like 2 weeks.
Okay, Jed and I keep talking about renting like a small camper, like something that you can like hitch to the back of your Honda CR-V, and like
you would love it.
I would be down to try.
You love it. You cook outside. It's great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the tent part.
We'll have to take an adventure.
Good luck to both of you.
All right. Week 2 of Hope Month. Dave, you preached on the broken place of injustice and how we might go about, or why we should care about going about healing this broken place. So if you remember, we kind of start every sermon discussion with what was the big idea from the sermon that you shared with us this past weekend.
Yeah, and I'll summarize the big idea. God hates injustice, is part of God's program/agenda is to eliminate it, as with all the 6 broken places. And because that is so much in the heart of God, the question then it behooves us to ask ourselves is, what's my part in it? Mm-hmm. So that's essentially the big idea.
Okay. You started your sermon with a story of Rispa. Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, Rispa. R-I-S-P-A, yeah.
Rispa and Deborah.
Thankful to Jeff Unruh, who, of course, remembered those names.
Of course.
Great. And that was in the Kibera Slum? Is that how you say that?
Mm-hmm.
So you called the visit with them awkward and holy. It was
Yeah.
an awkward encounter, but it was also a holy. And I know with my time spent in different places, especially in Ukraine, like it's like I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I don't know how to act. I don't know. Like I feel like I need to turn away from what I'm looking at, but also like God put me here for a reason, and there, So I knew exactly what you were talking about. My question about that is, as you look back on that experience, what do you think the Holy Spirit, what do you think the Holy Spirit was doing to you and to your heart in that moment? Because my follow-up question is, how should we as Christians, like, what should we expect the Holy Spirit to do to our hearts when we kind of put ourselves in proximity with people's suffering or people's poverty?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It was so awkward that I thought I'm blowing in this moment anything I was supposed to learn.
Yeah.
But when we got to the end where she tenderly allowed us and welcomed our prayer over her, I think something I learned was it's important to go there and be honest and enter into another person's pain with them, which we did. And then what I said in my sermon, I think the bigger, not so much bigger learning for me is it was about, I can't imagine that I could have experienced injustice as a thing as much as I experienced it in the 30 minutes we were in that little hovel. Because I smelled, tasted, experienced, listened to injustice in so many different forms, from husband's abuse to a daughter being abused, to the illness, to AIDS, to the poverty. I mean, it was a tsunami of injustice.
Yeah.
That I took in. And it was important for me for two reasons. Number one, for me, because there's injustice everywhere, but it's not my normal experience.
Yeah.
That was important for me. And it was also important for me as a leader to be able to lead people with an understanding of what injustice was about.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember specifically, I have specific visceral memories of my time in Ukraine where we were like visiting an orphanage of severely disabled boys. And I remember feeling so ashamed at how I was feeling and thinking and behaving because I was like, I don't even want to look at these people because
get me out of here.
Yeah. And I felt so ashamed of that. But that is, God's used those experiences in my life to really like transform what I think about human suffering and
absolutely
my role in it. It's like, I definitely feel like the Holy Spirit has used those experiences, but I know what it feels like to feel like so disappointed in how I acted or felt or whatever. And, so it just makes me wonder what our expectation should be from God when we encounter people's suffering.
Honestly, the answer to that question should be why we do mission trips.
Yeah,
we don't do mission trips to do a thing, although some little things happen, to build a wall, paint something, or we do mission trips so that something in my heart can get transformed.
Yeah,
something in my understanding of the world or God or the human condition can be transformed. So if you walk away and I walk away, and Maron, I'm sure you've experienced it too, we walk away from that and something has happened to us, that's a win. That's a win. Something's happened to us. Even if it's shame.
Yeah.
Even if it's shame.
The thing that takes it beyond disaster tourism is that moment where you are changed. Changing, feeling the compulsory need or desire to look away from something so hideous is itself an indication that something is wrong here. Why do I not want to look on this?
Yeah.
It's a telltale sign of something unjust that's happening, something against God's good design. Something is agitating you. And so the first thing I think you do is ask a question.
Yeah.
Why am I so agitated? What here is making me want to turn away? Okay, Lord, it's because you hate injustice. Okay, but you look upon injustice every day.
Yeah.
okay, Lord, make me more like you. Give me the courage to not turn away, but to face it straight on, even if I am confronted with my own feelings of ineptitude or helplessness or whatever. Give me your strength to boldly face injustice with your love.
Yeah.
And maybe even then go one step further and say, is there something in specific you're calling me to? Is this experience I'm going through right here? Is this something seminal in the formation of who I am in the world? Just side note, I was watching the news last night, and there was a report about the number of seniors who are homeless in America, like old people. The number is over 100,000 seniors are homeless in the United States right now. And they showed a story of a woman in Arizona that she just visits a lot of seniors who are homeless because it was 107 degrees when they filmed this. And that's what she's a nurse practitioner who travels to the homeless and meets their needs. And I was sitting there thinking, what was her first experience like? When did she taste it? And how did she get to the point where she said, this is what I'm going to do with my life? And it started, I'm sure, with one moment where she experienced it herself and thought, I can't do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is where we went with the sermon by the end was, I can't do.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
What am I going to do? So I don't mean to jump ahead, but that's why it's important.
Yeah. You did say that injustice is in the air we breathe, it's in the water we drink, and woven into the clothes that we wear. And if I didn't know any better, that's just like a very poetic thing, a poetic way of saying it's everywhere. But those are literal statements.
I made every time when I made those statements, there was something I was thinking about when I made the statement.
Yeah, those are literal statements. It's in the air we breathe. It's in the water we drink. Even in this country.
Yep.
And it's in the woven into the clothes that we wear. Lauren and I just watched a movie on Netflix. It's called Buy Now. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's called Buy Now. It's a documentary about I think it's like the conspiracy of shopping or something like that. And the amount of injustice, just like in that documentary where you're watching what happens to clothes, as one example, clothes. What happens to clothes when we don't need them or want them anymore? Even if you give them to Goodwill or something, like what happens to them at the end of their life? And the answer is they wash up on shore somewhere in another country that we never have to really think about. But that country is like they don't have beaches anymore. They have clothes on the beach. So it's in the clothes we wear.
And by the way, in many places that shirt was made by child labor.
Yeah.
So it began in injustice and it ends in injustice.
So it's a literal statement. It's not theoretical, not dramatic. And so my question was okay, if I know that now, what is the first faithful step I can take that as a Christian to okay, I mentally and emotionally care about that. Now what? What's a faithful step I can take? What's step number one that I can take that doesn't put me into because the way I feel when we get into the topic of injustice is just paralysis.
Yeah. I was going to say that's the first natural response is paralysis because it is I think I used this phrase. It's a total menace.
Yeah.
It's a total menace to society, always has been, and shows up in a billion different places, as do all the broken places. But injustice feels very Goliath-like.
Yeah.
And paralysis usually means I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we normally do.
I don't like it, but what am I going to do?
Or I can't.
I can't
do anything.
And this has become the drum I pound is you can't do everything. You can only do what you can do. So the question is, what is the specific place in the world for me to join God in what he's doing? And it may not even be an injustice. It may be in isolation.
Yeah.
It may be in pain. But figure out what that is. And it doesn't alleviate all of the paralysis when you look at injustice, but it takes care of some of it because you feel like, at least I'm engaged.
I feel like every time we've ever, as a staff, we talk about sermons that are coming up and sermon series that are coming up, and we call it design team, where we're talking about elements that we could use in service or outside of service, like what you're doing with the Calling Quilt workshop. What elements could we incorporate that will kind of help drive these points home and emphasize what we're talking about in the sermon series? And every time we've done one on Hope Month, because we have to talk about the broken places of the world, there always seems to reach a point where somebody has to remind everyone in the room that this is Hope Month, because it's so overwhelming. We talk about isolation. We talk about, we're talking about pain in 2 weeks. Yeah. Talking about injustice. Yeah. And it feels like an elephant that sits on our chest, and we're like, oh, yeah, this is so pervasive. This is enormous.
To me, the reason why I included the Revelation 21 passage, which we may talk about later, that there'll be no more tears, no more. Mm-hmm. That, to me, that's the essence of God's picture of hope. Mm-hmm. That we have to cling, we have to hold on to, have to hold on to that. If we don't, but here's an interesting side note. When I first introduced the concept of the broken places, it was not as the broken places, but as the evidences of the kingdom.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So, which was positive.
Right.
Here's what it looks like, and the evidence of the kingdom is justice. Yeah. But it's interesting. The first sermon series I did, I think it was the end of '99 or the beginning of 2000. No one got it. But when we turned it around into the broken places, people started to get it. Mm-hmm. So there is this, I will pay attention to the car wreck.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'll pay attention to the car wreck. I won't pay attention to the beautiful thing.
Right.
So it's kind of like a catch-22. We have to be woken up by the brokenness. Yeah. But also somehow find our way back to the hope.
Yeah.
There was a church van back in the Chicago days, south suburbs of Chicago. The church affectionately referred to it as the sad van, because it was just it was wrapped in this picture of a woman looking really down. Yeah. But it was about their recovery ministry. Yeah. If they had shown, a butterfly, flying toward the sun, it wouldn't have been as sticky. But you see, I guess you see yourself in the brokenness. Mm-hmm. You see yourself in the sad face of that woman on the sad van. And that's the idea behind the brokenness of the world instead of the evidence.
Well, yeah, I guess the evidence of the kingdom, it's like, it doesn't communicate that I'm needed.
No.
Like, if we're just talking about justice, it's like, well, sounds like we got to figure it out.
Yeah, or like, hey, that's cool when that happens.
Yeah, great.
Love when that happens.
But
look what God is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But injustice, like, well, why it's still here?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If it's at hand, if God's kingdom is at hand, why is it still a mess? That's because we need to get engaged.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And going back to what we were talking about on the show last week, I asked the question, is broken the right word? Because I get tripped up on this. I think it is, and it's going to stay the broken places. Yeah. But this is, it feels very like soft for what we're actually talking about. When we're talking about injustice, the word broken, like we're talking about sin. And you said injustice is woven into our systems, or in our systems. And with this broken place specifically, and maybe this is just because it's me, and I read your book and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm an activist, like that. Yeah. That's what I care kind of the most about. But with this broken place, we're acknowledging that the sin is not just personal, it is like structural.
It's institutional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's in the air we breathe, it's in the water we drink, it's in the clothes that we wear.
Yeah.
So if the sin is structural, what does that say, and what does that mean for repentance?
Ooh, it's a great question.
Like, I feel terrible when I see the movie By Now. I'm like, oh man, I gotta stop. Lauren is like, we gotta cancel our Amazon subscription because you can buy clothes as much as you want, and when you return them, they just go to the ocean or whatever. So we gotta cancel that. But that's not enough because it's structural. So there has to be some kind of like systematic repentance, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
So let me point out something. You are addressing this as through the way you're called. You're
Yeah.
addressing this from an activistic point of view,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool to hear you approach it from this angle. What is necessary in corporate repentance,
Yeah.
or what is in the, whereas a person who is a nurturer would say, who do I need to touch? Or a person who is a steward say, what part of the world do I need to actually take care of? You're asking that question as an activist,
Yeah.
which is important.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question is, what does it take to awaken? I know there's a lot of weight in that word, but to awaken a people to understand just how pervasive injustice is.
Yeah.
That's what you're asking. And
or
if you
even to see sin as more than just an individual's
That's right.
falling short,
Yeah.
but to see it as corporate sin.
Yeah.
Sin
'Cause,
with
like-
a capital S.
Yeah, I could, if I feel super passionate about this, I could do something like, all right, I'm gonna make sure I know where they call it fast fashion, right? So I'm gonna make sure I know where stores who abide by fast fashion philosophy or whatever, and I'm gonna avoid that. But if it's structural, that's not enough. Like there has to be more. Not just that I could do, but that like we have to be doing structurally to kind of make amends or reconcile this. I don't know.
That's a great question. And now you're also speaking like a prophet, because that's what the prophets
Yeah.
always spoke in the grand we.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, Amos 5, you included that as part of the sermon, and that rocked my boat. Rocked my world?
Yeah,
Boat?
sure.
Rocked my world.
You mean
The boat of your world.
Amos 5, the scriptures 20,
you mean the cross reference going back to verse 21 and
21 through 24, it says, I hate, and he's speaking on behalf of God.
Yeah.
I despise your religious festivals. Your assemblies are a stench to me. Even though you bring me burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. Though you bring choice fellowship offerings, I will have no regard for them. Away with the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the music of your harps, but let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. Yeah. And you said, in history in America, like the civil rights movement used justice roll on like a river.
Yeah.
I kind of blacked out when you were talking about that because I was just focused on like, God doesn't like the noise of our songs with all this injustice going around. Like, what is that? Like, Grace Church has to change everything. We got to change everything. Is he even happy with what we're doing right now? Like, there's so much injustice going on, and we're literally singing songs 5 minutes ago. Is he happy with any of it?
Great question. The key little word in that whole passage is but.
Yeah, but let justice roll on like a river.
So instead, you're doing all these things. I think if God were to sit down and take our faces in his hand, he would say, look, honestly, I'm not saying your worship is terrible. Okay? And you can worship, that'd be a great thing. But do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you focus your attention on justice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me softening the edges of your worship stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and what we do here is we don't just isolate passages of scripture. We go back and we look at the world behind the text. Who said it?
Right.
Why'd they say it? What was going on that Amos would have said, your worship stinks? I just watched a Bible Project video that kind of gave a very short overview of the book of Amos, why he was so upset. It said that the leader then was Jeroboam.
It was to the northern kingdom, right? Israel.
Right.
Yeah.
And that he had won all these battles. He gained all this ground for Israel. He added to Israel's wealth greatly, but his wealth led to apathy. Mm-hmm. He also allowed idol worship. I think it was Canaanite idol worship, which led to injustice. And so the people, if they were growing wealthy, hailed him as a hero. But the prophets, Prophet Amos, had harsh words because his wealth had led to apathy. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lose the point that in this weekend service, the video element that set up Dave's message was all about the work of the care center and what this church does to very specifically, very practically address issues
Yes.
of injustice.
Yes, you're totally right. You're right.
Absolutely.
But
No, not but.
yeah,
And
yeah, and
obviously, if I wouldn't want to be part of a church that was just singing songs and not doing anything. Like
yeah,
my faith is very praxis oriented, and it always has been.
Yes, it's vertical and horizontal.
Mm.
The church has to be vertical and horizontal. And here's me speaking my frustration is it feels to me like a lot of churches are becoming all vertical, no horizontal.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the cross as our metaphor.
Mm.
Very, very vertical, as in I go to church for me, I go to church for my encouragement, I go to church for my family, I go to church for my eternity, I go to church to even my own discipleship. I just want to be a better Christian without regards to the fact and I'm called to be involved horizontally into the people's lives around me.
Yeah.
And that's so interesting because I've also had my own experience with the church in Chicago that became more horizontally
than vertical.
oriented.
Yeah.
Yes. And it became all about social justice
Right.
and less and less and less about that vertical component.
Which is, we talked before we started the podcast on the controversial nature of the idea of justice. Those who would take issue with this would say that when you become so horizontal, you miss the needs of the individual.
Yeah.
Okay? And I get that. I fully get that. I don't see any other way in the way I understand God through his word and through the history of the church. I don't understand any other way the church can't be both horizontal and vertical at the same time. I think it's impossible. Otherwise, we're not the church.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So Amos was speaking to a church that was purely vertical.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's why he was so angry.
So with the broken places, do we all have to care about all of them at the same level?
Care about them?
Care about them is the wrong word. Like,
feel responsible for them?
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I don't think it's healthy to feel responsible for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's healthier to go, okay, what's the most ancient thing about me that actually points me in the direction of my own contribution?
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important.
Look, can you explain that again? I loved when you said that. The most ancient thing about you.
Yeah, the most ancient thing about us is this calling that's on our lives. I don't understand how God had it in our mind before we were formed, but I believe that, Ephesians 2:10, you're a masterpiece, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance, which long ago, ancient ago, he had in mind our calling. Now, I understand our calling also evolves as our story does, but it's the most ancient thing. It's the oldest thing about us. It's also the most eternal thing about us, because even when I'm gone and in glory, the impact of my legacy passes down from one generation to generation. It's the oldest thing about us, our calling, and it's the most eternal thing about us.
Maybe this is just because it's me. So I want you guys to correct me if I'm wrong. So I know all the broken places. Like I've been here for a long time. I'm well aware of them, and I read your book. I kind of feel like injustice is like not an elective. You don't get to elect to care about that or feel responsible for it. Like you have to. You have to because God does. And he's pretty clear about it. Not to say you're not supposed to care about the other ones, but like I kind of feel like you got to do the injustice part. And if you want to care about something else, you can.
He keeps making my point.
I know.
He keeps making my point. This is an activist. This is a man who's called to the area of injustice. But to a certain extent, I agree with it. Because it is woven into everything, if we're not at least aware, I think we need to be aware at the points where I'm complicit in injustice. We all should be absolutely aware of where I'm complicit.
Yeah.
In
Maybe
injustice.
And it might be because if we said, what did we say? Separation from God was the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah.
Then maybe injustice is just beneath that. I don't know
Maybe,
what's
yeah.
just under a granddaddy, an uncle of them all. I don't know. But like
The
every
uncle of
other
a broken place.
every
That
other-
really horrible uncle.
Yeah.
every other broken place touches injustice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every other one touches injustice.
right.
So
And
maybe
injustice
that's
touches.
right. Maybe that's why you feel the way you
Maybe.
do. If my passion is reaching isolated senior citizens,
Right.
there is an element of that that is directly speaking to the area of injustice. If my passion is creation care and restoring the world from its state of decay, there are lots, as you've already touched on, elements of that touch directly with injustice. Pain and injustice
Yeah.
are almost
Right.
used
Yeah.
interchangeably.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why you feel that way. And I would agree with you that you have to care about injustice because injustice has direct touch points with all of the broken places.
Yeah.
The problem with the 6 broken places, it's a nice teaching device that really does, it's really an overstatement of issues that are all interrelated.
Mm-hmm.
It's all bad. It
Yeah.
is a broken world. We called 6 broken places to make it easier to grasp or to figure out our place in it. But the fact is, they're all interwoven.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I think another problem with the broken places, honestly, is like how, like I wasn't there when you kind of came up with the paradigm or the structure or the definitions of them.
Yeah.
But like since then, 25 years ago, 20 years ago, since then, our world has only gotten more divisive and our attention spans have gotten shorter. So it is nothing for me to hear somebody talk about something like a broken place and disagree with them, even if it's a pastor that I respect, disagree with them and be like, I'm out of here. I don't need to sit through this. I don't agree with it because I can find a tribe or a group that does agree with me down the street or whatever, and I don't have to hear about this stuff.
Right.
So that I feel like in the last 20 years, there's been like this ultra splintering of Christians, people, and also our attention spans are an injustice in and of themselves. Like the fact that we can't focus on injustice for long enough, like pick a news story in the last week. That news story is no longer in the news cycle. So that in and of itself is an injustice that we can't even focus on it long enough to like think about what we ought to be doing for that. So I think that is a frustration of mine about the broken places is that like with our attention spans, and it's not the broken places themselves, but with our attention spans and our propensity to be divided on these things, not from a biblical standpoint, maybe, but from a social or political or emotional standpoint, like injustice is a very divisive topic.
Yeah.
So is decay. And so is hatred.
Yeah.
Loneliness, I think we can all get on the same page that we don't want people to be lonely
And pain.
and pain.
Yeah.
We don't want people to feel pain.
Or separation from God.
Yeah.
But even in that can be divisive.
Yeah.
too.
But within the church itself, some of these topics are very, very divisive, and our attention spans don't allow us to stay in the room long enough to be like, all right, let us hear this out and let's like come to some kind of unification on this. Have you guys felt that, experienced that? And does that frustrate you?
I'm curious, Dave, how you've seen that change over the course of your time as a pastor. Did it used to be less divisive or less?
We didn't talk about this stuff as much. Not in the context, not in the Christian / evangelical movement. We didn't talk about the broken places. From your you know that for years, others, especially with liberation theology, have been talking about these issues of justice and hatred and all those things. It's just the American evangelical movement from the early 1900s has not focused on these things.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. When I started exploring these things, even touching on them when I was in seminary, I remember I wrote I can't even remember the project I was working on, or the thesis I was working on, but one of my professors said, you just can't. It was the Matthew 25 passage, I think, the sheep and the goats passage, which the way we understand it, the way at Grace we would preach it is that's Jesus saying, you you need to see me in the least of these.
Yeah.
There's injustice going on with that person. Well, I'm that person, you know. Well, I had a prof say, that's not what that's about. That's not what that, so there's a theologizing away from the broken places to understand it in a different light, that it's just about the nation of Israel. It's about Jews, and it's really not about really lost, broken people out there. It's mostly, this is all an internal squabble.
Mm-hmm.
So theologians have been saying that. I think probably in the 60s, when some of the justice movements started to get legs in the United States, evangelical theologians started to back up and say, wait a minute, this is not, we've got to find another way to explain this.
By not talking about
By
it?
not talking about it. By theologizing it, putting it in a different context.
Yeah.
So I
that
wouldn't have...
still exists, though. That sentiment, like...
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, right now, what is most shocking to me is some of the criticism I'm hearing from some, they would call themselves evangelical, of the very words of Jesus. And actually, I think what they're doing is saying that the words of Jesus need to be contextualized to the first century. They don't apply now. There's a phrase called dispensationalism, that says that throughout different eras in the world's history, God has worked in different ways. Well, if Jesus was talking about caring for the poor, that was during that era. That's not the way it is now.
Wow.
Now it's all about, I heard a local, I won't say who, but I heard somebody tell me about a local pastor say, we do the real work, which is leading people to Jesus and discipling them. That's the real work of God. You can deal with social justice and all those things, but that's not the real work. That's spoken from a person who would call themselves an evangelical Christian.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Right. I mean, it is, but so is this. It's both, right?
But they would say no. They would say, it's nice if you can do it. It's nice if you could deal with social justice, but that's really not what we're called to. That's what this cat would say.
Yeah. About 10 years ago, I was trying to identify who Grace's, like, for lack of a better term, target audience was. So I was like, what do people think? Who lives around us? I was looking at like census data. I was literally making phone calls to strangers just to be like, who are you? And what do you think what should exist in churches in your community? Like, what should church exist for? What's the purpose? What's the point? What's the best thing? What's the worst thing? Trying to come up with like a persona for the people in our community that we are talking to as a church in their community. By far, 100 times a million billion, people said...
I get that number.
People said the church needs to care more about things like the poor.
Yeah.
The very stuff that you just talked about, that the care center primarily addresses. It wasn't anything but that. It was like, it was two things. It was the church would be the best version of itself in my community if it cared about these things, if it did these things for these people, the people on the margins, the vulnerable. That was number one. Number two is if churches worked together to do it. That was number two. And that has stuck with me for 10 years. It's like, that's what people think church should exist for.
Now, here's the other, can I throw a twist in that? You know that most of those people that were interviewed had some church experience.
Yeah.
If you're Americans, 80% of Americans have some sort of reference to Jesus. So what I think when I hear that, those are people who used to attend church that are answering that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was a lot of that.
They're saying that's not the experience I had.
Yeah.
And I wish it was. And maybe, is that why you're not going to church? You can't find that experience?
Yeah.
That's the follow-up I'd like to ask these folks.
Dave, of course, you talked about people's calling. You wrote a book about it. You said you gave out like 200 books.
Yeah. A lot of people wanted them.
That's great.
Yeah, it's real good. I have plenty more where that came from.
Okay.
You want a book? You want 10?
It's called A Why to Live For. You were specifically tying destiny to these broken places. We also talked about the workshop where people can come to understand where they might fit and what they'll do about things like injustice or any of the other broken places. But can you kind of give us a taste, give friends of the pod a taste of what people might expect if they were to register and attend October 4th? What can they expect when they come?
Well, the key to understanding your calling is exploring you. And the workshop will allow, and even the prep work that we encourage people to do before they get to the workshop, is do a life mapping exercise. And we explore the good, the bad, the ugly, the wondrous. Because in there, I would say the vast majority of people's callings come out of their life story. Then we'll also explore their passions, the things that what do you stand for? Not hobbies. I'm not talking about hobbies or avocations like camping. We're talking about
it's not a hobby. We do it once a year.
The things that break our heart. Okay,
Yeah.
So explore that. It's the second part of a human. The second factor. Third factor is a personality. We'll use the Enneagram. What are your motivations? How are you formed in this world? And then also skills, gifts, and abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we'll help people capture that in a thing we call the calling quilt. It's just a big piece of paper with sections on it and looks like a quilt, so to speak. And then we'll help tie all those pieces together, and a calling hopefully will emerge from that. And then the question is, okay, if that's my calling, A, will that be unrelated to my career?
Yeah, right.
B, will it be integrated with my career? C, will it be identical to my career? So when they walk out of here, the ideal circumstance is that they have a better understanding of their calling and have a notion of how it will apply to their life.
Yeah, I was looking around at people, including myself, but I was looking around at people saying, oh, that would be really good for so-and-so. Oh, so-and-so needs to not pass up this opportunity. This would be good. And even for me, Dave and I had a conversation, you might remember briefly a couple weeks ago, where you were asking me about school and what I was going for. And I said, well, I'm on track for, the MDiv, but what does this church really need? Does this church really need a biblical studies major, or does this church really need some sort of like counseling background? I don't know. So I'm still trying to figure out, as it relates to me, what does this church really need? And you said, Maron, what are you called to do? What's your calling? And then you said, I know a guy who could help you with that. So I really want to go.
Have you ever done one? Have you ever done a calling call?
No.
I just walked out of I had a follow-up meeting with a client, walked her through, because we not only do workshops, we do one-on-one coaching with people. And this doesn't happen with everybody, but she decided as a result of the calling quilt, she said, I need to quit my job. And she said, I'm struggling with this, but what I'm hearing you say is where I go next, it has to be where I can invest myself at a point where my greatest contribution. She said, I'm having a hard time promoting myself because she's always thought, how can I serve? How can I help? And I said, you're at a point, and she's a little older, and I said, it's time for you to think that way. What is it what is your greatest contribution? And say to the people who are thinking of hiring you, this is who I am, and this is my greatest contribution. Yeah. So the offer still stands, by the way, just so you know that.
Yeah, this kind of thing is, I love doing this stuff. It's, I've talked to you about kind of trying to be a fly on the wall when you facilitate these things to try to see how grace can.
Do you have my phone number?
Yeah.
You can text me.
It's been a busy summer. We said back in the spring, like we'll work on this. But
I really think you should.
Yeah.
Side note, one of the newest things that we've been doing, our organizations are doing, is offering to other organizations, here, take our material, brand it for yourself, and I'll train you to do it for your organization.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So that's a new thing we're offering. It's better for the organization. I mean, we can show up and do a thing.
Yeah.
It's better if you have an internal person who is committed to the organization.
That's what I want to do. I want to be someone at Grace. No, I don't have to be the one, but I want to be someone at Grace that receives people who are interested in this specific thing. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Do you get a lot of people who come in a state of paralysis? Like I talked about my one last week, but my one was here And I think every broken place is her broken place. And she's
Mhm.
so overwhelmed at the brokenness of the world, but she doesn't have the hope of Christ. So she's just devastated all of the time,
Mhm.
always depressed, always struggling. So if someone like her, do you have to have the foundation of Christ going into something like this calling quilt?
No, it's rooted. The whole calling quilt's rooted in biblical truth, right? Even though I don't say that out loud for a lot of people who are not believers when they come.
Because you do this in different
We do it
settings.
in corporate settings. We do
Right.
it in scholastic settings. We do it in all different settings. So, I mean, I don't shy away
Mhm.
from the biblical foundations of it. However, I think that ancient calling is regardless whether a person has come to Christ yet.
Mm.
She has a call of God on her life, and I think it's entirely within the realm of possibility that if she started pursuing her calling, she'd find Jesus.
I agree.
Hmm.
I agree. I just wonder about that paralysis piece. I feel
All
like
the time. I would say 90% of the people, they're in some form of stuckness.
Mm-hmm.
They've either been stuck for a very long time or just recently they've had a thing happen. That's how I opened the workshop, saying, we have things that happen to us, transitions we go through, and we're in that liminal space. I'm not where I was, and I'm not where I'm going to be yet, and now what do I do? So that almost everybody that we work with is in a liminal space of some kind.
Mm.
Well, Dave, thanks for coming in.
You're
It
welcome.
was great to have you. I told Maron before the podcast, I was like, I might get fired. This might be my last day doing this because of how fired up I was. But I think we're good. I think we made it.
Well,
think we
let's
made it.
let's wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we haven't posted this yet. But man, this sermon stirred me. Hope Month is I really hope people take you up on the workshop.
Mhm.
And it was great having you here and being able to talk through that. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next week, I think we're going to try to call Barry in.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. Liz is saying yes. We're going to try to call Barry in from Turkey. So that might go horribly. But he will be just wrapping up the actual trip, the pilgrimage.
Well,
and he's staying for another week.
He'll be there by himself.
Yeah, he's going to be there by himself. So he's going to kind of give us like he's going to call in.
My baby will be home
He's
by
going to
then.
call in to the show.
Safely.
Maybe.
Safely returned.
Okay.
While mine
Yeah.
is
Dave's
off in the
sitting right here.
is off in the wilderness, like his mother is gonna freak out like she always does.
Cut that part.
I'm kidding.
We don't need Penny to be
I
mad at
need to
us.
get coffee with Penny. I do. She would
Well, she doesn't
understand.
freak out anymore. But back in the day,
Yeah.
when dude was out
Yeah.
doing his thing,
yeah.
yeah, I
Oh,
get it.
man. All right. So we'll be back. Who's preaching next? You?
No, Amy,
Oh, Amy's coming in
is
next.
she isolation or pain?
I'm pain, so she must be.
She's isolation. You're pain. Milton's hatred.
Pastor Payne. Pastor Payne.
Barry's doing what? Decay, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Of course. All right. So Amy will be here next week. That'll be good.
That's right.
It's been a while since she's come in. Oh, yeah, because we were talking about canceling it because Barry wasn't going to be here, but that would have been like the 5th time in a row
We can't do
Amy
that to
preached
Amy.
and
We
then
can't.
did not
You
come
would
on.
pay the price for that.
So we got to bring her in. So she'll be here. We could talk about Wizard of Oz stuff because that's coming up, and that'll be good. Cool. Dave, thanks again for being here. Maron, will you please send us out?
I will. Do justly. Love mercy. And walk humbly with your God.
And we'll see you on the other side of Sunday. That was good.